the time, wherever you go. Wouldn't that be cool? Someone following you everywhere, filming yourself. How about, have you ever tried to fly your drone, but you can't because of a no-fly zone? Nod your head if you had that situation. All right. Well, imagine being able to capture drone-like shots anywhere you go. Have you ever been in a situation where you want to capture everything, so you're just pointing the camera everywhere because this thing is going on all around you? Imagine being able to shoot first, capture everything, and point later. Have you ever been in a situation where you need to film twice for 2 aspect ratios, one for YouTube and one for TikTok? Nod your head. Imagine shooting once and just changing the aspect ratio at the tap of a button. Are you constantly just checking the screen to see your framing? And by looking through the screen, you're never really experiencing what's happening in real life in front of you. Imagine being in the moment instead of seeing it through a screen. Have you ever been in a situation where you didn't have to carry a gimbal all the time? Just take space in your backpack. You just want to carry less. Imagine getting stable shots without the need for a gimbal. What if I told you that all of these situations can be solved with a 360 camera? And that's what we're going to talk about today. And this is everything it can do. You don't need to imagine, it can do it. So do you want to learn about 360 cameras? All right. So let's start with basics, because I'm sure you've never seen a 360 camera before, so I'm going to take it from a beginner level. This is me walking with my phone. That's a typical phone shot, selfie shot. Now, the next thing we might go to is an action camera to get a wider shot. And you can see that the selfie stick is in shot. Now let's take a look at what a 360 camera looks like in a similar situation. Where's the selfie stick? So with a 360 camera, its unique characteristic, is that it erases the selfie stick automatically. So let's do a demo, and I'll show you on the camera itself in this very room what it looks like in 360. Sound good? All right. So I'm just going to switch over to the camera's view. I'm going to connect my phone, so give me 1 second. All right. So here you can see me. You can see the screen, and I can see you. This camera can see everywhere, and it's just in one place. So now imagine, let's say we're filming this workshop. I can show a shot of the audience. I can show a shot of myself presenting, and I can show the screen, all with one camera. Just trying to make sure the phone does not, all right, fall. Can I have a volunteer? All right, come up. What's your name? Aiden. Hello, Aiden. Hold the selfie stick and point it out in front of you. We're going to take a look at what it looks like on the phone. Can you see the selfie stick is missing? You can wave it around. You can see it's automatically invisible in the final shot. So imagine you're walking around now. What does it look like? You've got a cameraman following you in front, right? Now put the selfie stick behind you, behind your shoulder, and just watch the light above your head. And now put it further behind. And now it looks like you've got a cameraman behind you, right? And now you can put it out to the side of you. And now you know you have those Hollywood tracking shots while you're walking. So if you just started walking, it would look like someone is following you from the side. And that is the most unique property of a 360 camera. Now you've seen it in action. Are your minds blown yet? Thank you, Aiden. So imagine connecting the camera with a selfie stick to your bike, an airplane, a boat. You can get these amazing shots using the invisible selfie stick effect. All right, can we switch back to the presentation now? So, a quick history lesson on the evolution of 360 cameras. They were never, ever this small. Back in 2016, there used to be a rig that holds 6 cameras together. It would have 6 micro SD cards, 6 batteries. You'd have to press record on all 6 cameras to record a 360 video. And if just one of those cameras' batteries failed, that's it, your shot's gone. And imagine unloading 6 micro SD cards to your computer. The workflow was a nightmare. Go forward 1 year, Insta360 released a camera which had 6 lenses built into the body. And when you press record, all the lenses were synced together. And it cost £3,500, which is way less than this GoPro Omni rig in 2016. And it weighed a lot less as well. I actually bought this camera at that time. And then the following year later, they compacted this massive ball of a camera into a pocket-sized camera, which you can literally put in your trouser pocket. And look at the price difference, from £3,500 to now £409, and a tenth of the weight. So this camera can capture the same quality as something this big. And now you can walk with the camera. You don't need to have something this big. So the evolution of it has changed dramatically in just a few years. So it's amazing that now you have this technology which you can put in your pocket, which you didn't have back in 2016. So how is it actually working? How are we able to see all around us? Well, a 360 camera, the latest ones, the consumer ones, they have 2 lenses, a front lens and a back lens. Each one of these lenses has a 200-degree field of view. So this lens can even see behind itself. And both lenses can see behind itself. So what happens is, the area in between the camera is called the stitch line. So where the video of both lenses overlap, you can imagine it being stitched together over here. And this is how you get the 180 from this lens, the 180 from this lens, together to make a 360 video. Make sense? And because of the stitch line, we're able to do something really incredible. If the selfie stick is thinner than the body of the 360 camera, then it's automatically invisible. That's why you can't see the selfie stick in the final shot. So I've told you about all the good things about 360 cameras, but here's one of the disadvantages. So our normal phones, they can record up to 4K video, and even 8K now. But a 360 camera records 5.7K video. But that 5.7K is spread throughout the entire video. So if I wanted to take a section out of that video, so let's say I just want to focus on you guys, this section is going to be 1080p because I'm cutting out a rectangle from the entire sphere of video. Does that make sense? But there's also an advantage to this because with 5.7K video, you can cut out a 1080p rectangle video, which is a 16 by 9, and you can cut out a 9 by 16 video for TikTok. So you only have to film once, and you can reframe into a 1 by 1, 16 by 9, or 9 by 16, all within a single shot. Make sense? Okay, so you're probably thinking, this is all cool, Shanil, but how do you make money from this? Show me the money. So, this is a case study from the University of Sussex, and their brief was to show Sussex Uni in a way that's never been seen before, to show the culture of Sussex. And one of the things they wanted to show was seagulls. And I was thinking, well, trying to capture seagulls with a normal camera is going to be difficult because you don't know where they're going to be. So we used a 360 camera instead, and this was the result. Without 360, we were not able to track the seagulls. We couldn't have been there with a gimbal trying to get it right. We had to leave the 360 camera alone, chuck some chips in the middle, and let the seagulls come close to the camera. And wherever it was around the camera, in editing, we can then reframe to show what we wanted. So we were able to put the seagull in the center of the frame. We didn't have to worry about where around the camera it was. So this is a second case study video where Sussex Uni wanted to show their very unique basketball court made by the special artists in Brighton. So they're like, can you show it off using 360? So I thought, okay, we'll use a very long selfie stick, a 3-meter selfie stick, like this one. So we can go high and we can go low with this stick. To then being able to capture a shot which looks like this. So starting off high, coming down low to follow the action. Then going back high again to show the shoot. Could this be done with another camera? Probably not. Has to be done with 360. And that's the advantage it offers. Different heights, different angles. And I'm also, in this shot, running with the camera. You don't need to worry about stabilization. It's literally that stick, the camera on top, and I'm running around the pitch, just following them. I don't need to worry about framing. I can do it later in editing. Case study number 3. This was to show Brighton Beach in a unique way. Okay, so you remember the invisible selfie stick effect we did with Adrian. So with that effect, we rigged the chips onto the camera using that invisible stick in front of the camera, and then I was just walking with the camera to the next person. So you can imagine the amount of different things you can substitute the chips with. So, have I convinced you yet that 360 cameras are really cool? So would you like to try 360 camera shots of your own? All right. So now we're going to go through 5 different shots, and I'll have volunteers come up to try them for themselves. And the first one that we're going to do is, I'll come back to my career journey at the end of the workshop. The first one that we're going to do is just the third-person view shot. Just walking around, and then we'll reframe it in the app, and you'll have a go at reframing so you know how it looks like once it's in the app. So what I'm going to do is boot up the camera, get the first volunteer, and just record someone just holding the stick, just walking around this area. Who wants to give that a go? All right. How does it feel in your hand? Is it light? Yeah? All right. Thank you very much. So we'll take a look at this shot in just a sec. We'll get all the videos recorded, and then we'll take a look at it in the Insta360 app. This is probably the most daring shot. You're going to be swinging a camera above your head. So who wants to give this a shot? I'll show you how it's done, and then you can decide. Selfie stick is jammed. Just give me a second. Always goes wrong in a demo. Going to put the camera behind you and walk straight forward. So I'll show you how it's done. so we can edit it on the app. Can we switch to the mobile phone, please? All right. So the app I'm using is called the Insta360 app. And this is where you can see all your footage. Do you want to see the tiny planet first? All right. So, this is us all around the camera, setting up. Let's trim it so we get to the point where we actually start running around, about there. Okay. So, I've trimmed it to a 20-second footage. Okay, so can you see where the plus button is, right at the bottom? This is called a keyframe. And a keyframe will tell the app where to look at a specific point in time. So at the beginning of the video, I'm going to add a keyframe, go to frame, and choose the tiny planet field of view. And now you can see it's turned into a circle. Now if I want to, remember I told you at the tap of a button, I can change the aspect ratio to 16:9, 1:1, and back to 9:16. So let's zoom out a bit, and there we go. That is the tiny planet, and we can see everyone going around. This is called a hamster wheel. All right. And now using keyframes, we can animate it to zoom in, zoom out, and do all sorts of distorted angles. And we can also go back to a normal field of view. And we can look around the frame. So what did you think of that? Obviously, we had to be 1 meter away from the camera. We were pretty close, so if we were a little bit further away, it would look a little bit less distorted, but you get the idea. And the cool thing about a 360 camera was the fact that everyone could get involved. No one had to cram around a specific lens. Everyone around it was in frame. So it's very inclusive at events and things like that. So it's a great way to get a shot of a group of people. Okay, so let's go back to one of our initial shots. All right. So what I want you to do is I want a volunteer to come up, and you're going to practice keyframing, looking around using the Insta360 app. So who wants to have a go at using the app? All right, please come up.
I got you, man.
All right. So what you want to do is you want to add keyframes to focus on where you want to look. And to add a keyframe, you need to press the yellow plus button at the bottom of the screen. So now you can look around. You can choose where you want the video to start. So if you want it to start on him, you can leave it there. And at the bottom, there's a button called Update Keyframe. that will save where you want the video to start. So are you happy with that keyframe? That's where you want it to start? All right. So let's say you want to keep the view on him for 2 seconds. So you can scroll forward 2 seconds in the timeline. So there you can see it's 0. So you have 01, 02. Now you constantly need to tell the app, like, where do you want it to look? Because it just doesn't know. So add another keyframe on him. That's done. And now you can go forward like 1 second or 2 and then just choose a new view. Maybe try and show the audience or the screen. It's up to you. All right. And if you want to, you can go to Frame. You can choose the linear field of view. And can you see how that got rid of all the fisheye distortion? All the curves are gone now. So now it looks a little more normal. You can also choose narrow if you want to zoom in a little bit more. Yep, so then you can go back to linear, or you can use ultra-wide, and it will zoom out. So, yeah, so this is all the different ways you can control what the camera is, the field of view that you want to show your audience. And just like that, you can just keep working your way through the timeline, adding keyframes, showing what you want to show. And whilst you were filming that, you didn't have to worry about framing. You didn't have to worry about what the camera was capturing. You just had to do your thing. And that's the best thing about using a 360 camera. There's just no need to look through a screen. You're there in the moment, just doing what you need to do. And you worry about all this later. And you've got all the flexibility in the world to choose the exact framing that you want to do. And let's say you want to turn this into a 16:9 for YouTube. You can just go to the aspect ratio, change it to 16:9 at the tap of a button, and it's ready to go on YouTube. That's it. It's that simple. And this is all being done on a mobile phone. And right now, it's being done wirelessly from the camera to the phone. That's how quick it is to get your videos out on social media. So imagine you're out on the mountains, capture a great shot, even like now, and you want to post that on Instagram. You can export it and get it on Instagram in just a minute. Very seamless workflow between the technologies. Really good. I will say that you do need a high-end smartphone to get the best out of the app. Right now, you can see that it's working pretty flawlessly via Wi-Fi without having to transfer footage, which is saving you plenty of time. But you do need a high-end smartphone. So right now, you're using the Samsung S23 Ultra. iPhones work perfectly as well. So how did you find the editing on the app?
It's pretty simple.
Simple?
Bad, yeah. It's I don't know. Like once you explain it, it's pretty easy to just work through and just figure it out, I guess.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Can I have a new volunteer to come and practice reframing? You're going to try something a little bit different. Come up and give this a go if you haven't volunteered already. So you're going to try something a little bit different. You're going to try something called Viewfinder. It's going to be a little bit difficult because you are tethered to a wire, but basically, you're going to move the phone around as if you're in the moment, capturing the moment. Sounds weird, so let me explain. So in the options, find Viewfinder. So move it left and right until you find the Viewfinder. Yeah. Add a keyframe first, so press the yellow button, and then you should get Viewfinder, yeah. So tap Viewfinder. Now move the phone up, down, left and right. As he moves the phone, you can see that the view is moving as he moves the phone. So imagine you've just captured a shot, and now you can reframe as if you're holding your mobile phone in the moment. So what you're going to do is press the record button, and now you can record your camera movement into the video. And if you slide your finger left and right, it will zoom in and zoom out as you hold down record. Got it? Okay. So now, there's no need for keyframes. It's just dragging his finger and recording the movements into the video. And I feel this is the best way to reframe because it feels most natural. How did you find that?
It was hard to work with, but yeah, it was interesting. I liked it, yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's take a look at some bullet time videos, the ones we were swinging around. Now, this is automatically edited. There's nothing for me to do here. It looks very dramatic. Well, basically me in the background as well. But yeah, it's automatic. It's automatically reframed. It's slow motion. It's 4K, 120 frames per second. Let's take a look at the next one. Pretty good result, right? And if you want to, you can change it to a 16:9. So you got it for YouTube. And you can change it to 1:1 if you want to. All done within the app, automatically edited. Let's take a look at the next one. And if you want to, you can add speed ramping, so you can speed it up and slow it down as you're liking. So imagine where you could use that effect, maybe on top of a viewpoint or to show off a space. It's a really cool effect. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Okay, so this was no drone, no problem. And this is the idea of pushing the camera as far away as possible and at heights. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down on the subject, drag a box over the subject, and tap Start Tracking. So now the AI is automatically going to center you in the frame, and I don't have to do any keyframing whatsoever. So just like that, you can just automatically center yourself in the frame without having to add keyframes. So there's many different ways that you can reframe a video within the app to create so many different types of effects. Now, in that video, you can see the bend of the selfie stick, and there are ways to make sure that the bend is not seen. So you'd want to hold it at a certain angle where the selfie stick bends less, and to do that, you would make sure the stitch line is facing the selfie stick, so sideways, so the bend falls between the stitch line, if that makes sense. Then it won't be shown in view. And another no drone, no problem, so moving left to right. And you can make it look like a drone is orbiting around you. And you can even use this effect, to go around a building and fly through it and make it look like there's a FPV drone going around the building, high and low. And if you really want, you can customize your own selfie stick way above 3 meters, maybe a 7 meter, 10 meter, just make it yourself to get these ridiculous heights where a normal camera can't go, and that's how you can get past the no-fly zones. So now I'm going to show you how I go about editing some of my own videos and how simple it is to do from the examples that you saw before. So this is a time lapse that I captured in Mallorca. Now the great thing about a 360 camera is you're capturing everything around you. So when you capture a time lapse, you have the ability to create these like cinematic pans moving left to right without you having to move the camera. If you were going to use your phone or another type of camera, you would need to set it up on some kind of egg timer or gimbal to make it move left to right automatically. But because it's 360 video, you can choose which part of this video do you want to show. And I can also turn it into a tiny planet sunset if I wanted to. So there's so much more flexibility with a 360 shot when capturing time lapses to turn it into a motion time lapse, which looks more cinematic and cooler than a normal mobile phone or camera shot. In this example, I want to show you how you can add speed to make a time shift type effect. So in this video, I'm over here. I'm just walking with the camera all around. And then I added this 8 times speed effect to whiz around the entire building. And the point here is that you can walk around with the 360 camera on a selfie stick and get gimbal-like stabilization. It doesn't matter if you're running, walking, jumping, this thing is automatically stable. I've even held it on a roller coaster in London, and it's flawless in its stabilization. You don't need to worry about it. It is waterproof, so you can use it underwater. I don't have an example to show you, but it is waterproof down to 5 meters. So if you want to dunk it in a pool, you can. If you want to take it underwater scuba diving, there's a special case for it. And once you put it in the case, you can take it down to 60 meters, and you can get 360 views underwater as well. So there's so many different possibilities. Now this shot, if you're wondering how I captured it, I have a suction cup on the back of the car. It's a 3-way Delkin Gecko suction cup. Then I put the selfie stick and the 360 camera on the back. And now it has that GTA effect where you're looking like you're watching this car go through a waterfall. And, in editing, using Viewfinder, I'm able to reframe. If I want to, I can just focus on the car, or I can look up towards the waterfall and back around, which wouldn't be possible with any other camera. And with the invisible selfie stick effect, you can see that there's no stick, but there is a massive stick pointing out from the back of the car. So it looks very silly in real life. Drivers behind me would always leave a massive gap, which is a good thing. But it looks amazing once you see the final results. So think of all the creative possibilities of where you could use that invisible selfie stick effect to make it look like a drone is following you, like it is over here. Any questions based on those shots? Okay. Does anyone else want to practice reframing before we move on? This is a good chance to practice what it's like using the app. In case you're considering a 360 camera, this is what you would use. And this would be the best time to try it before investing in it. So if you want to have a go using the app, this is your chance. All right, you want to try Viewfinder? You can do it with this.
Nah, it's not like that, trust me. Nah.
Okay, so you want to press the yellow button to add a keyframe. Then you got Viewfinder mode. And now you can look around with the phone. and press the record button, and then you'll start recording your movements. And whilst you're pressing record, you got to hold your finger down, and then you can slide it left and right to zoom out and in. Okay, so just tap the red section. We're going to delete it so you can go again. Yep, confirm, discard, go to the beginning of the timeline. So just drag the timeline all the way to the beginning, and you can go again. Viewfinder, and try reframe it again. So you slide your finger to the left and right whilst you're holding record. Yeah, there you go. And you can just keep doing that as many times as you like. So if you want to try it again, you have to delete it and then go again. The colors you're seeing on the camera is straight out of the camera. There's no editing done to it. It already looks amazing straight out of camera. There's not much you need to do to it. Obviously, when you're walking around with a selfie stick in public, people will look. It's not normal. You don't see people normally walking around with a selfie stick, especially when you're using a 3-meter selfie stick. But when you look at the results, it is totally worth it, and you'll get over the anxiety of people looking at you once you're getting the results. Yep. So obviously, because you're tethered, it's really difficult. But you can just move around any direction, look up, down, left, right, and choose where you want to look. Yeah, you can go to Tiny Planet View. If you point to the ceiling, you can do the mouse wheel. Any questions based on the app? Yep. On the X3, which is the latest 360 camera, it's a 1/2-inch sensor. Insta360 does have a 1-inch sensor, 360 camera. It's £900, I believe. The problem with that one is that it's a bit bulkier, it's heavier, it's not waterproof, it doesn't have slow motion. So I do think the X3 is still the better value for money 360 camera when starting out. One thing you need to know about 360 cameras is that once you damage the lenses, you've damaged the camera. So you will need to send it back to Insta360 for repair, and unfortunately they are based in China, so it's a costly journey back to get it repaired and back again. So you need to take care of your lenses and make sure you don't damage them. These lenses are much tougher on the newer cameras, but still, if it falls off your bike, grazes across the ground, the camera is done and you need to get it replaced. That's the only biggest disadvantage of using such a camera. You need to take really good care of it. Yeah?
I'm actually not.
All right. Does anyone else want to have a go at reframing before we move on? All right. All right. I think that's it for the Insta360 app. I'll just show you quickly the export settings. So here you can see custom settings, 1080p, 30 frames per second. You can see the bitrate at the bottom. The biggest reason people complain about bad quality Insta360 video is because they don't put the bitrate up to 125. So always put your bitrate to the end to get the best quality possible. Because if you have fast-moving footage, it needs as much information as possible to make sure it doesn't turn pixelated. So always put the bitrate to the end. All right, that's it for the Insta360 app. So I will go back to the laptop and talk you through my career journey. All right. So let's go back to when I was your age, thinking about what to do with my life, what I really wanted to do. At the time, at college, I did computer science, media studies, and business. I thought the safest option would be to do computer science at university. Had nothing to do with media. But whilst I was doing computer science, I was taking part in film competitions. And I found out that I really enjoyed making videos. So that's what I was doing in my spare time. So I graduated from King's College in computer science in 2013. And naturally, you think the next best thing to do is get a graduate job. I thought, imagine being the guy in a suit, walking around with a laptop. That would be cool. Maybe doing a startup in London. That would be nice. So that's what I did. I was the guy with the laptop, going around to companies, solving IT problems. I thought it was the dream. It wasn't. It was a terrible job. I didn't like it at all. I just didn't like the 9-to-5 grind. I felt very unfulfilled. And I realized that I was being sold a dream when I had an industry day and then someone came in a suit and said, this is amazing. You get to be in a suit and carry a laptop. So I soon realized that isn't what I wanted to do. But during my time at a 9-to-5 job, I was taking part in film competitions. And one of them was a road safety one, and I built a team around it, and one person in that team is here in that room, which is Jake. And we didn't know each other. The only reason I reached out to Jake was because I needed a VFX person. I put an ad out online. I said, Jake, I need you to join the team. There's this competition, and if we win, we get to go to Italy. We get to meet Lewis Hamilton. We win £4,000. Do you want to be part of it? And it's crazy because you didn't know me. I could have been a scammer. But he said, yeah, let's do it. Because I had a plan of this video I wanted to create. So Jake got on board. We never met, by the way. This was all done via the internet, right? So I talked to him. I gave him a brief. This is what I want you to do, VFX. We had to create a road safety advert. So we wanted to crash a living room. So there's a guy with a steering wheel in the living room, and we wanted to crash it as if it's a real-life game to show, like, driving's not a game. And Jake would basically crash the living room in VFX. And so we did the video, and we found out that we actually won. So we got that trip to Monza, and the first time me and Jake met was at the airport going to Monza. We never met before. So I think the first lesson there is reach out to your network if you have an idea. Put an ad out there. You never know who you're going to reach. And it's because I built that connection with Jake that I'm actually here today, because he reached out saying, do you want to do a talk at Confetti? So if you have a brilliant idea and you've got a plan behind it, like a storyboard of this video that you want to create, that will help people realize that don't know you, like, oh, he's got a plan, this looks really good, and this is what he's trying to do. And people will believe in you, and they'll want to be part of your projects. And just from that belief, we won that competition. We went to Monza, we met Lewis Hamilton, we got the money, and we actually worked on more films after that as well. So that's a great way to kind of just build your network, go out and meet people that want to do similar things to you. So then I thought, whilst I was doing that 9-to-5 job, I was making videos for the IT companies. That was more fulfilling than doing the IT work. And when I made those videos, people in the company said, oh, you're really good at making videos. Can you film my wedding? I was like, oh, God, that's a big responsibility. Like, your big day, me? I was like, oh, all right, let's give it a shot. So I did that, and I started doing corporate videos whilst I was at the 9-to-5 job. And I was doing it for the company, so I wasn't getting paid for it. I was getting paid to be an IT consultant, but I was doing videos instead. So that was cool. And so I started building this portfolio of videos and confidence to film a wedding, which is a big responsibility, but now I feel confident doing it because I've done a few. And I found out that I actually quite like making videos. And I got to a point where the IT job was just so unfulfilling that I just wanted to leave and just make videos. I thought that would be the dream. Let's leave and just start making videos for London corporate companies. And I can do that full-time, and I never have to do a 9-to-5. I don't need to take that train to London in the morning, that 1-hour commute, be huddled in a train for an hour and then an hour back. It was horrible. So I quit, and I started doing freelance videography. And I thought, yes, I made it. I'm doing what I want to do. But actually, it was a terrible decision. Because when I decided to leave, I had no clients lined up after I left. And that was the first big mistake I made. I had a good job, but what I should have done before I left was get a set of clients, 5 clients that are ready to pay me when I leave, so that as soon as I leave, I've got income coming in. So if you have a dream and you want to build that into a business, if you've got a part-time job or a full-time job, stick with it until your side hustle is making you money, making you enough money that when you leave, you can support yourself. Because the first 6 months after that job was really difficult. I didn't have much work. I was relying on my contacts to give me work. So build your portfolio of clients before you leave your full-time job, before you do whatever you want to do. Now, because I found doing videography work in London, I actually didn't find that fulfilling either. It was a shock to me. I thought I would love this. This is what I wanted to do. And whilst I was doing videography, because one of the film competitions I won in the past, the lady said, rang me up one day, said, "Do you want to teach 10-year-olds in a school how to make videos?" I'm like, "Whoa, that's a bit difficult. I don't know if I can do that." She said, "No, you'll be fine." And so I did it. I started teaching 10-year-olds how to make videos in schools. And I found out that I actually loved it. It was so great to see 10-year-olds be inspired and make something out of what you taught them. And I found out that I actually love teaching. So from that experience, I thought, wow, what if I could teach people how to make videos and do that as a full-time thing? So then that's when 360 cameras came out. And when I got that in my hand, I thought, this is game changer. This is going to change the action camera market forever. Let's teach people on YouTube how to use these cameras. And that's what I started doing. So I made a video which is 10 travel vlog shots you can do with the Insta360 One X. I put it on YouTube. I had less than 10,000 subscribers at the time. That video blew up because it was new. No one had seen it before. And everyone was amazed at what this camera could do. And someone reached out to me on Twitter, and it was the CEO of a conference called Mojo Fest, Mobile Journalism Festival. So journalists from all around the world come to this conference to learn filmmaking. And this is journalists from BBC, Al Jazeera, Sky News, everyone under one roof. And he said, "We love that video you made about 360. Would you like to come and speak about 360 at our event?" And it was based in Ireland, in Galway. And I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, sure. So I went over to Mojo Fest in 2018. You can see I'm speaking on stage there in front of thousands of journalists. And that was it. That's when everything changed. Everyone was like amazed. They're like, this is awesome. These journalists came to talk to me and they said, "Can you come and train us?" So then I had offers to go to Saudi Arabia to train Al Jazeera. I had offers from BBC to come and train their journalists, cancer research. It was amazing. And I had all these coaching sessions lined up. And I thought, yes, this is great. I'm going to start my own company called Best 360. And I'm going to start 360 coaching because I love to teach and I love 360 cameras. So everything was so good at that point. And then COVID hit. I couldn't go to Saudi Arabia. I couldn't go to Belgium to do workshops. I couldn't even go to London to do workshops. All the workshops were cancelled. All my work gone. So I was like, all right, can't do 360 coaching now. I've got to be at home. What can I do at home with 360 cameras? This is an outdoor thing. So I had to think on my foot, and I started making 360 accessories. I started filling in the gaps. There is no stand for 360 cameras. I thought, let's make a stand. There is no backpack for 360 cameras. Let's make a backpack. Let's make a clamp and many other things. And then I also started the online course. I thought, if I can't go to these places around the world, let's make an online course and I can sell that to potential clients. And so I picked myself up. I started selling products on Amazon. I started to do online coaching through Zoom calls. And from that, I managed to grow Best 360 to where it is today, turning over more than £100,000. But it always wasn't that easy going through this journey. I discovered what I loved through my experience. And you might not know what you want to do now, but through your experience, you will find it. You will think it's one thing, but when you do it, you might think, it's not actually this, it's something else. And only through trying many, many things are you going to realize what you actually love doing. And you don't know it until you try it. And, as I'm 30 years old right now, if I could go back 10 years, I would try as many different things as I could at this age, while I still can, to find out what is it that I love to do. The sooner you find out, the better it's going to be. So you can get a head start on that journey. Any questions based on that? All right. I forgot to move the head. I think a key takeaway from my journey is starting your own social media. Like I said, I don't have many followers on Instagram, but it was enough to pick up a client who throughout the years has paid me 5 to 10K, 10 to 20K projects. Don't worry about how many followers you have. It's the quality of followers that are seeing what you're posting. You never know who's going to see it. It was through social media on YouTube, even though I had 10,000 subscribers at the time, that someone from a conference said, can you come to Ireland and come and talk about it? So don't be put off by being small. What you need to do is post things that are creative, that represents what you can do and your skill. The followers will come. People will see it. I guarantee you. Just put it out there. Collaborate with people and make good content. Do not go for followers. They will come. I assure you. This is a representation of everything you can do. So what you put out on social media is very important. I would say that you don't want to have your profile, one of you like on a night out and suddenly it turns creative. You want to keep it professional on a level so that when these brands see you, they're like, yes, I want to work with you. So it's really important to put your ideas out there. They don't need to be polished videos. They just need to be ideas, creative ideas that you think that brands are going to love. Like you see ideas where some people create a fake advert for like Heinz ketchup or the iPhone or Samsung. Have a go. Put those ideas out there because you never know that one day that company is going to reach out to you and say, hey, we want you to make a video for us. Just don't be afraid to put your ideas out there. No idea is a bad idea. So if you think your work's not good enough, put it out there. I guarantee you someone's going to find that awesome and say, we want something along those lines, but can you do this instead? So social media is very, very important. I think this is like your online, much better version of a CV. LinkedIn is your social media pages. Show what you can do to the world. I think there's two very important books for those of you that want to be online creators, that want to start your own business. Now, on social media, on TikTok and Instagram, you'll find there's lots of young people that will say, here are 5 ways to make your first $1 million. Or here are 5 ways, you can make $10,000 in a day. Or here are 5 ways to help you get rich or whatever. Just note that all this knowledge that people are putting out there by young people are coming from resources that existed 10, 20, or 25 years ago. They're all coming from books. And if there's one thing I wish I could do in my 20s, and I read this close to 30s, that I wish in my 20s I read these books. This is stuff they do not teach you in schools. I would make a note of this, take a picture of it, because this is the blueprint of how to make a business when you're very young and gain personal wealth. And if I read this in my 20s, I would be more wealthier, more successful than I am today. I read this a bit too late. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a really good book about a kid that has a rich dad and a poor dad. And he talks about the poor dad decisions and the rich dad decisions and how they clash and what the differences are behind their thinking. It's really important, the mindset they had, that, if you want to be a content creator and be successful and make money in what you do, you also need to have the entrepreneurial spirit behind you, the business acumen to propel you forward. And like I've shown you before, with COVID, you never know what's going to hit you. What if you're unwell? How are you able to work and create content? That's why you need the digital side, the online courses or a product or something that's selling whilst you're unwell or whilst you can't do that. You need to think about multiple income streams. And the 4-hour work week has a ton of resources for independents that want to build a business and how to do it very well online so that you can do what you want to do and let the business work for you. And through these books, I'm able to, build a business where I can go out and create. And whilst I'm out creating, even being here today, I am selling products on Amazon, earning money in other places whilst I'm going out creating, coaching, and doing all those kind of things. Do you have any questions based on the journey or the journey of an online content creator or the business side of content creation? Yep.
You said you created accessories during COVID. How did you generate the starting capital during such stagnant times?
Yes, a really good question. So luckily, when I was working at my IT job, that paid really well. So I had a lot of savings built up, and I thought that I would use my savings to invest in myself, to start my own business and get the accessories going. So again, saving is a very important thing to do in your early 20s, and I know you're sitting there thinking, I can do that later. Trust me, I'm 30 and I wish I knew this when I was 20. That saving and investing is really important. And I come back to the books, which have been out there for 20, 25 years, telling you this is the blueprint for young people to have a successful life and how to do it well. So I highly recommend it. You check out these books. And if you're not a book reader, I wasn't a book reader when I was young. I didn't like reading books. I'd go to YouTube and think I would learn everything from YouTube. But like I said before, the people on the internet would take the key points out of these books and claim that they made these points. They would sell you £1,000 courses to teach the same things, but these books cost 15 quid. And you're better off learning it from the source than learning it online, because people are just ripping off the books and repackaging it. So highly recommend the amount of knowledge that's in these books for just 15 quid that you can read in just a week. And you get way ahead of everyone else. Yep.
What about the manufacturing where you want to source the materials?
Okay, so how do you manufacture your own accessories? It's not that difficult. And what I did was I went to Alibaba.com, again, a resource in the book, and on there you can source all sorts of products. So in content creation, let's say, do you make videos with mobile? Right, so you can make that circle thing you stick on the back so you can hold it, or maybe you want to make a mobile phone accessory to hang the mobile around your neck. You can source all that from Alibaba.com. You go to them and say, hey, I want to stick my custom logo on it. You will need to order like 500, get it sent to you. You make a Shopify store starting out, and then you can start selling it. So basically on Alibaba, they will have products where you say, just put your custom logo on it, order 500, and they'll send it to you. So you don't have to make it from scratch. This is not made from scratch. So this selfie stick already existed. I added the logo here. But otherwise, the design was already there on Alibaba.
So dropshipping not quite.
Almost, but with drop shipping, you can't put your own logo on it. But you basically take what they got and customize it to suit your needs. So obviously, my brand color is orange, so I added the orange on it. The bag, the interior is customized to hold cameras, but the bag already existed. I did not design the bag from scratch. The bag existed, I tweaked it, and then I bought it. So you don't have to go from scratch. You can add your custom logo and do it that way. Does that help? Any other questions around online courses, creating content, 360 cameras? business, guidance, anything? All right. We are ahead of schedule because we were going to head outside to do shots, but because of the bad and cold weather, we did it inside, so we were ahead of schedule today. Is there anything else you'd like me to cover? In terms of landing big clients, I would say it all comes down to social media and recommendations. So let's take cancer research, for example. Cancer research actually posted on the Insta360 group. They said, do you know anyone in London that's a good 360 coach? And one of my followers posted, tagged me in it, and that's how I got landed cancer research. Big client, spending up to 5K. Honestly, for me, my way of getting clients, I've never actually approached clients. They've actually naturally came to me. And that's through recommendation. People knowing who you are, what you're known for, knowing that you're good at it, and they will recommend for you. Even in the Insta360 groups, when someone posts like a broken selfie stick, someone will say, buy the best 360 one instead. It's people doing it for you. And I think it's a law of attraction where when you post good things on YouTube, which is about how to use these cameras, people naturally start to like you, like you're helping people. And now people naturally want to help you back and start recommending you to people that can help you as well. So, it goes a long way to put yourself out there on social media. I think it's really important to show what you can create and don't think that any footage you create is not a good idea, because rough sketches and ideas can inspire someone else and say, hey, I had an idea, let's work on that together, let's do a collaboration. So I always think, no matter the idea you have, just put it out there, and I promise you, people will come to you and want to work with you. Oh, so this is Madeira, Pico do Herrero. So I put the selfie stick on the backpack, and then I was walking across the mountain range. So I was able to get a bird's eye view, and I couldn't fly a drone because it was so windy. So I put it on the backpack. Madeira, Pico do Herrero. Yes, yes. So yeah, this is all filmed in Madeira. And another good thing about starting your own business is that my trip to Madeira is all expensed by the company. So if you're a content creator and you want to travel the world, starting your company will help you offset your cost to the company and not your own pocket. So I'm able to say my airline expenses, my food, all of that goes under company expense. And that's the kind of lifestyle you can build for yourself if you read the books that I told you to. So that's why I highly encourage it, because it will teach you how you can travel the world, create content, get clients abroad, and just live the life that you want and not the 9-to-5 grind. So Insta360 sponsored, kind of this video. This is just a shot from the Insta360 video. They would pay me around £500 per video. If it's a big video, might go up to 1,000. Brands, their budgets depend where they're based. Insta360 based in China, so it's a little bit lower than the ones here. But still, it's a good start. Insta360 is really open to influencers. So if you have a really good 360 idea, you could talk to Insta and say, I have this amazing idea. I need a 360 camera. Can you give me one? And I'm telling you, they will give it. They're actually actively looking for influencers to promote their cameras. And if you have a really good idea, put it on paper and show, this is what I want to do. I guarantee you they will give you a free camera. You just got to deliver in the end. And when you deliver, they'll say, here's £500, go and do something better. And that will grow. Here's £1,000. So it all starts from that initial idea. This is 360 Guy. He's another 360 influencer. So we work together to create videos online. So think about other people in your niche. Reach out to other influencers that you know that are doing similar content to you and work together. Because that way it becomes more fun. I think the one thing I missed from working from a 9 to 5 is the team thing. Like, you'd have a big team around you, but when you work on your own, you can get loneliness. And the best way to combat that is to work with other people, collaborate with other people. That Prime bottle cost me 12 quid, by the way. But I knew I had to get it for the floating Prime shot. So I have a video on YouTube, which is like showing you all the different kinds of shots you can do with a 360 camera. So this is one, orbiting around using different camera accessories. So you can see the behind the scenes of how I swing the camera around, and it just looks like, someone was going around me. All sorts of things like jumping around the camera, freezing the camera in time. And, the colors that you see from the camera are straight out of the camera. It's barely edited. So this is the floating leaf effect. When you add like a little selfie stick here, I added the leaf on top, which you'll see there. So that spacer in between the leaf and the camera is invisible, and you only see the leaf. You can create these awesome hyperlapses where you just kind of walk in a straight line, and you can kind of reverse what you see, going back and forth. Like another cool way to show Christmas lights or any other kind of attraction. So like low budget FPV. So this is me like running around this building trying to look like I have a FPV drone. But now when you see the behind the scenes, just me running with a long selfie stick around and then reframing it with the tools you saw before, the viewfinder, just literally moving my body to kind of get that FPV effect. But, this is, imagine just walking with a selfie stick, but, when you saw the shot, I was looking around the ceiling and everywhere. So you never know what you're going to reframe once you see the video in editing, because you've got unlimited possibilities. There's so many different angles to show. So that flexibility is great. So there's the bullet time on top of a mountain. This time I sat on the selfie stick whilst going on the swing to get this unique swinging view, which, a normal camera wouldn't be able to do. Any other questions? Yep. Yeah, I mean, the good thing about 360 is that when you are filming everything and you are, let's say, reframing for 9:16, you've got the opportunity to cut out if there's something that you didn't want. And you get to zoom in, zoom out to choose what that frame looks like. So what you want to look out for when filming 360? Well, I would say you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes I have the vision in mind of what I want, and then I go out and film the shot, but when I look at it in editing, I find out that I've got 10 other ways I could actually reframe this shot. And I think the best way to go about filming is just trial and error. Just go out, capture different angles, to the front, to the back, to the left, to the right, and see which one works best, because you never know which one's going to be the money shot. So you just got to try everything. Yeah. Yeah, so if you want to edit 360 video in Premiere Pro, there's a special plugin. You need to download and install Insta360 Studio, and then you've got the no-stitch workflow where you can drag and drop your 360 footage directly into Premiere Pro. Then you're going to use the GoPro Effects Reframe plugin, and that will allow you to reframe your 360 video in your 16:9 or whatever sequence you create. Then, with the GoPro Effects Reframe plugin, you can zoom in, zoom out using the controls to show what you want to show. So the same controls, similar to what we saw in the app, to zoom in, zoom out, get rid of fisheye distortion. All those controls are available in the GoPro Effects Reframe plugin. So that's another workflow I didn't cover today, mainly because I mostly reframe using the app because it's so fast. So if I am abroad and I need to upload something onto social media, I just stick with the app because it's so fast. Premiere Pro just takes such a long time. That the results are so good from the app that I just don't think I need to go to Premiere Pro unless I'm creating a client project and they need like the full 4K quality. That's the only reason I go to Premiere Pro now. But otherwise, Insta360 app for everything.